Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology.
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Joshila Grace, Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology. So now we are going to see in this PPT about how to create multi-threads using extending thread class. So we have already seen about what are threads, what are the basic units of threads, everything. So we will be seeing about how to create this particular thread by using the extends thread. So we have a predefined class which is called as thread class inside the Java software. So when we are going to use this particular thread class, we have to make it a point that the thread, whatever we are going to use, that has a keyword. That particular keyword is going to start with capital letter T. So we will be using the class inside our class. Whenever we want to use a predefined class inside our class, we will be using the extends keyword, so that we will be inheriting the properties of the thread inside our own class. So this slide shows you about the two ways you can create a thread. Multi-threading can be done in two ways in Java, either by using an extends thread or by using an implements runnable. So this PPT we will be seeing about extends thread. So this shows you about the various constructors that has been available in your thread class. So whenever we are going to use the properties of a predefined class, we need to know about the various functions that are being present in our thread class, the various constructors that are being present in our class, so that we will be able to use the particular functions whenever necessary, and also we will be able to create the objects such a way that we will be able to use the particular thread constructors. So these are the various constructors that is being present in our thread class. So one, if you see that, you have a thread constructor with no parameter, and the next one is a thread constructor with string name as parameter, thread constructor with runnable as parameter. The last one is thread constructor with runnable and a string as parameter. So this shows you about the syntax, how we will be using your thread class. So here, if you see here, I have just given an overall syntax of how to create a simple thread by using your extends thread property. So we have started with a class keyword. So next to the class keyword, the word is nothing but the class name, whatever is given. Whenever we want to inherit the property of the predefined class thread, we will be using the extends keyword, followed by we need to use the thread property. So the thread class is being extended here. So thread, we have to keep the T as uppercase because it is a predefined class. Inside the Java software, the thread class is being defined only as capital T. So we have to specifically give it as capital T for the thread class. Then followed by, I am giving a program where we will be having mandatorily this line, that is the public void run. So this is a function which is being overridden here. Whenever we want to use a thread, we need to use the function as public void run. So inside this, what all has to be moved as a thread, what all has to be running as a thread, those set of codes will be given inside this run function. Followed by, I have closed this particular class and I am going to have the object being created for the class. So the object is as usual, class name, whatever the class name I have given here, followed by the object name. I can give any name for my object, equal to new is the keyword, followed by the class name. The class name is nothing but for the class what we are going to create an object, that particular class name, brackets open and close, semicolon. So this is a general syntax for your object creation. So we will be creating an object here. So what we have to understand here is, once we have created object for this derived class, we can call it as a derived class for the base class thread. So once we have created an object for this derived class, it is assumed that this object can be used for utilizing all the properties of my thread class. So this object can be used for utilizing all the properties of my base class thread. Followed by, how will I call my thread? That is the run function. So we are going to call our run function, which is nothing but our thread. So how to call our run function is by using a start keyword. The start keyword will be used like this, where we will be using the object what we have created for our class, that is the subclass, that object dot start. So this will indirectly call your run function which is present inside your class. So we will be seeing two programs under this, how to create a thread. So in this program, we have found that we have started with a class and we have one more class to contain our main function. So totally I have two classes. One class which is going to have extends thread, which is going to act as a derived class for my base class thread. and the other class which is going to contain my main function. So inside the class which is going to extend thread, I'm going to have the run function. As I told, it is mandatory that you should have a function called public void run. So we should always have a function called public void run inside this derived class of thread. So inside this run function, what I am going to do is I am going to run a for loop which is going to start from 0 and it is going to go till 9, 0 to 9, and every time it is going to print in my output screen as th1:1. So like that it is going to print throughout. So that is the aim of my program. So this particular program is going to run from 0 to 9. So here if you see, I am just going to close my run function here. So to make the program is very simple, I have just given a base class, a derived class which is going to invoke the properties of my base class thread. Inside that I will be giving the function as public void run, and followed by I am going to have a for loop which is going to run from 0 to 9 and it is going to print in my output from 0 to 9. So this is the aim. Starting with my class which is going to contain my main function. So how many ever lines I give, my execution starts only from my main function. So starting from my main function, you can find that I have created 3 objects for the class multi1, which is nothing but my derived class. For one single class, I have created 3 objects. So it means that the thread what I have created, I am going to make it as 3 threads going to be running at a time. So for that, I have given 3 objects that is being created for multi1. So using those objects, I am going to call with start keyword. As I said in my syntax, in order to call this run function, I should use a start keyword. So I use it as m1.start, m2.start, m3.start. It is not like your normal function. So whenever you have a normal function, you will be calling the first function, first call will be done. Completing that only you will be moving to the next function call. But in case of thread, we will be having all the threads being called simultaneously, all the threads being running simultaneously. At a particular second, one thread will execute and give the output. So, but all the other threads will be in the runnable state. So, if you see here, all the 3 threads, that is M1, M2 and M3, all the 3 threads will be running and 3 times will be having the outputs as 0 to 9. The order may change. So, if you are executing the program, you can find out that the order in which it is going to execute, so like 0 to 9 will be changing. This indicates that we will be able to run all the particular threads simultaneously. So I have one more program to explain about thread class. So this program, if you see here, the same program, almost it is the same program. Here we have 3 different threads being created. So instead of having one thread being created and creating 3 objects for calling the threads, here I have 3 different class which is going to extend the property of thread. So here I have multi1, multi2, multi3 which extends the property of the base class thread. So inside, as I said, it is mandatory to have public void run. So each and every class, if you could find, I have public void run. So the activity what this is going to do is the same. We are going to have the same for loop here. So for loop which is going to run from 0 to 9. In each case, it is for loops running from 0 to 9 and it is going to print from th1 0 to 9. Similarly, th2 0 to 9, th3 0 to 9. So this is made very simple for you to understand that all the process runs simultaneously and each time you execute the program, the order in which it is going to execute and give the output is going to be different. Then followed by, this is the class which is going to contain the main function. Inside the main function, so we have created 3 different classes. For 3 different classes, I have created object here. So multi1, multi2, multi3. For 3 different objects, I have created object. So using that object, I am calling the start function. So as I said, in order to call your run function, you should give a start here. So I am using m1.start, m2.start, m3.start, which automatically calls the run function. So all the threads will be running so that the output will be like th1 first, then followed by th2, then followed by th3. So the output, the order in which it is going to give the output statement will be different. So if you execute and see it, you can find out. So this is a simple way how you can create your thread using extends class. Thank you.